This is a 2022 Mini Cooper SE, and today I thought we'd talk about its quirks and features. What? Wait guys, sorry, wrong channel. What's going on guys, and welcome to today's video. And as you guys can see, we've got the wife's new 2022 Mini Cooper SE, and I thought we'd actually do like a walk around drive video of this thing since we've had it for a couple of weeks now since you guys saw us bring it home. Thought I'd bring her out and get some of her kind of initial gripes with this thing and then get it out on the road because honestly, it's pretty darn fun to drive. So we'll do a quick walk around. We'll get her out here and yeah, go out and drive this thing. So guys, like I said, this is her brand new 2022 Mini Cooper SE, and this is a base signature trim. This is the base model, and the really only options it got were a black painted roof, the black mirror caps, and the black wheels. This is the white silver paint, but honestly, it's just silver. There's not really any white to it, but it still is a really good looking color. There's a lot of kind of pearl metal flake going on in this thing. Now jumping to the inside of a signature trim SE, you do have really nice kind of synthetic leather seats. You've got heated steering wheel, heated seats. You've got really nicely appointed trim, leather steering wheel. It's honestly a very nice place to be. All of the surfaces are obviously nice, soft touch stuff. It's just a nice vehicle. It seems very nicely put together. Now, obviously, backseat room on a Mini Cooper is relatively small, but honestly, with the passenger seat slid forward, even if I'm sitting there, there's enough room for a small, medium-sized child in the back, and there's really not much issue. Now, on the interior, that's kind of where some of her gripes or things she's noticed have come up. So we'll get her out here. We'll sit in the car and kind of talk through some of the things she has noticed in her short time owning this thing. All right, guys, we are here with my wife, Kelsey, and you guys have seen her maybe once or twice before on the channel. And she previously was a Prius owner. And how many Priuses have you owned prior?
7.
Only 7 Priuses. Now, you weren't crashing these cars, but you just liked...
I mean, some of them I did.
Some of them she crashed. Minnie, don't listen to this. This is scary. But normally you just, after a couple of years, you liked a new, fresh Prius. But you had been driving Priuses for many years. 14 years. So she was debating on getting another new Prius, and I kind of think I maybe steered you towards the Mini more, but you had wanted an electric car for a long time. Tesla, like you guys know, has a very high price to pay. This was kind of the affordable way to kind of dip your toe into the electric car market and figure out if you are scared of driving an electric car because you have range anxiety, which she does not because she drives her Prius on empty for days. So that's none of her concern. But what we were talking about today is some of the things that she kind of has noticed jumping into a Mini Cooper from a mid-trim level Prius. Her previous car was a 2021 Prius XLE. So going from that to this, some of the things she's noticed.
The main thing that I wish were different is just the center console area. First of all, this, like, I don't understand this. I guess you can control your media, your maps, navigation, whatever, all of this, but you can do that here. So you're like saving yourself a second. I don't know. I don't understand it. I will never use it. And this is a parking brake. You could put that somewhere else. But anyway, then you've got this down here, which looks like, oh, I could charge my phone there. Well, it's not. It's just like a thing. And my phone wouldn't fit anyway. It's not large enough. But there's like a missed opportunity. Like this could have been a wireless charging for your phone. Then up here, this thing, I've got sunglasses and a mask because that's literally all that you can put in here. And again, it looks like, oh, I can charge my phone, but you can't. But you could if they had made it a little bit larger. So I don't know what you're supposed to put here, but like this whole thing could just be one huge like console so you could actually store stuff in it. This shouldn't even be there. This over here, I don't know what that is. I put my sunglasses there sometimes, but again, this whole thing is just wasted space, in my opinion. Yeah.
So yeah, we know obviously a Mini Cooper is small and there's not a lot of storage, but the whole just center console thing, like she said, just seems like a kind of a missed opportunity or you could utilize the space a lot better and have a lot more storage. Now, the wireless charging, yes, we know the very high trim level has wireless charging, but come on guys, it's 2022. Throw wireless charging in everything. I understand they need to make different trim levels, but come on, wireless charging, most vehicles have that now. Some vehicles have 2 wireless charging pads. Come on, Mini, throw it in everything, but that's just one thing.
Also, I don't think Mini even offers Android Auto, which, you know, not everyone has an Apple. So that should really be an option, which, like I said, even if I got the high trim package, I wouldn't be able to use my phone in it. So, or charge my phone. So that's not cool.
Right. So like she was saying, the radio is only Apple CarPlay, not Android Auto. Seems kind of weird just to have one versus the other. I don't know, maybe I'm just used to my Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge stuff that has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and all of that stuff. But again, kind of seems like a weird missed opportunity. The 22's got a slight refresh, and this is the new, bigger standard screen that's supposed to be all cool and have all the stuff, but doesn't have Android Auto. I don't know. Again, we're kind of grasping at things, but again, seems like maybe easy stuff they could do, redesign, and make a little better experience.
And it also doesn't have the garage door.
That's right. Again, I believe the high trim levels will have the HomeLink garage door where you can just reach up and hit the mirror or wherever that is in a Mini. And again, this is a base model, we understand, but really you can't make it standard. My 1999 Grand Cherokee has HomeLink. Mini, it's 22. Let's put it in standard. Let's see, you've had like 2 kind of relatively frequent-ish issues with this car, and that's the goofy shifter and the key.
Yeah. So the shifter, if your car's on and you need to open the door, which when I'm dropping my son off or picking him up from school, that's like every day, it is weird.
Yeah, she's been stranded multiple times with this thing. And again, the Minis are kind of goofy, the electric Minis at least. If you open the door with the car on, if the seat belt's on or off or something, sometimes it will go to the off position and you don't really notice because the dash and everything is still lit up. You go to put it in drive and it doesn't go, and you're, you know,
I've got cars behind me. I've got angry mothers like, move.
Right. So she's had that happen multiple times. And again, it's kind of weird on when it will do it and not do it, but just kind of a goofy shifter setup along with a electric vehicle and Mini or BMW's way of doing their ready or not ready for their electric cars. All of that's just kind of been a little bit goofy. The other issue that we've had multiple times is getting in it initially, hitting the start button and it not recognizing the key. Now, again, this is a brand new 22. Shouldn't be having key recognition issues at all. And there is a little diagram and it wants you to hold the key up to the steering column and get the vehicle to start. So kind of weird. Don't know if that's a normal Mini thing that they have key issues, but just kind of something that probably shouldn't be happening on a brand new car. But I think that is all your gripes or issues that we've had with this thing in the short amount of time. So I think I'm going to go take this thing out on the road, give you guys a little street drive, and we'll get our final conclusions on this thing. Now, real quick before we drive this thing, I wanted to show you kind of trunk space and under the hood. Now, yes, trunk space is relatively small, but it did originally have a kind of flat load floor that kind of bridged this gap, and then you had this open cavity underneath. But we kind of found out that removing that altogether just made a heck of a lot more sense. There's a huge area versus having a shelf that already makes the load floor even higher. So removing that and removing the little shelf cargo hider here that goes open and close with the tailgate kind of made a lot more room. And again, if you needed even more room, just one quick pull of that seat back and then you've got even more room. Now jumping under the hood of this big powerful beast, obviously I've removed the big plastic beauty cover, but now you can see the power plant, the 181 horsepower and 199 foot-pound of torque, single electric motor, front wheel drive, BMW i3 based powertrain that is just kind of set into the Mini chassis. Now, honestly, I think it's kind of a cool looking thing with this almost roll cage frame around the electronics. I'm sure that's for some sort of crash rating or whatever, just so in a crash, all your electronics aren't hit immediately. You still got BMW coolant going on over here to cool the engine and air conditioning, obviously, but it is kind of an interesting looking underhood compared to a normal vehicle. Now, one thing I think is kind of cool about the Mini is that it isn't very modified from the normal gasoline counterpart. You've still got all of the same stuff, a push button toggle switch, just like a normal Mini, and everything is just kind of normal. You've got ambient lighting you can change, and again, it's just very normal Mini. Now, one of the new 2022 things is this new LCD panel for the instrument cluster. It works really well. It shows you your available power, your battery level, your range to empty, all of that kind of important stuff for an electric vehicle. Now, another thing that is kind of cool is drive modes. Yes, I know everything has drive modes now, but in the Mini, you've got 4 drive modes. Your normal drive mode that it starts on, you can go down one more to a green mode, and then down one more even further to green plus. Now, green plus gets rid of your HVAC controls and just has air blowing, and is supposed to be the most power efficient mode, obviously making the throttle a little bit duller. But the mode that we are concerned with is obviously the sport mode, and everything kind of turns red and angry. You've got a little red here on the dash. That center display is red. And again, all of these I don't think are making any more or less power. It's just making kind of the throttle mapping a little bit differently, but it does feel pretty darn fast. Now, even on the signature trim, you still have rear park sensors and a very nice high definition backup camera with the active park lines. Now, I've only previously driven 2 other electric vehicles, and they were both Teslas, and one was a P90D with ludicrous mode, and the other was a Model 3 long range. And yes, both of those moved extremely well. And no, this is not Tesla performance out of this thing, but when you put your foot down, the car accelerates very quickly. I believe the 0 to 60 time on these is in that 6.0 second range. Most of the reviewers were getting around 6 seconds. So it is properly quick for a modern vehicle. No, it's not a performance vehicle, but it does move very well. It's just as quick as a Mini Cooper S, the turbocharged ones, and it has all of that available 200 foot-pounds of torque at 0 RPMs, being an electric vehicle. Now, I guess I don't have much history driving any modern Minis, but the thing feels nice, nimble, and light on its feet. And the Mini SEs are even like 300 pounds heavier than a normal gas counterpart. So it should be a little more cumbersome, but again, it feels really, really tight and handles really well. Now, one thing the wife has really had to get used to is the acceleration. The Prius is around 10 seconds on its 0 to 60 time, and then getting into a Mini that is doing it in 6 seconds, almost twice as quick. She has found herself doing a lot of speeding, and at least unintentionally, because it just moves really well with no gearing. With no engine noise, no transmission, nothing, you find yourself driving very quickly in a very short amount of time, and it's really fun to drive. Now we'll do a little from a stop here, and we will put our foot on the floor And yeah, guys, I know you can't feel it, but it honestly does push you back in the seat very respectably. And just like that, we are doing quicker than we need to be doing, but it just moves very quickly. And with no gearing, no motor noise other than a little bit of electric motor whine, you're just up to speed and moving. It's honestly a really fun thing to drive. And that kind of brings us to the regenerative braking. When you let off the throttle, it will go into regen braking, and that is when it is using the electric motor to put power back into the battery. Now you can turn this to a low mode with a push of a switch over here, or the high mode that it standard defaults to. But in that high mode, you can do what is called one pedal driving. Now with that one pedal driving, it has so much regenerative braking that when you let off the throttle, it will brake so hard or abruptly that you won't even need to push the brake pedal. If you get your timing right, you can let off the gas and it will brake itself to a stop. If you know the vehicle, you can let off the throttle and it will stop itself and you never have to push the brake pedal. Kind of a cool thing. And again, if you don't like that, you can turn it to the low setting and drive it like a normal vehicle. So guys, that kind of concludes my mini, very quick review of this thing. And honestly, we've been really happy with it. So I'm hoping we can do some kind of cool appearance mods on this thing, get rid of all the chrome, and see what else we can do and what kind of fun we can have with this thing. So guys, let me know down in the comment section, could you drive a little teeny two-door Mini Cooper? Could that fit your family? Could you live with an electric car? And hopefully we'll see this thing out doing some cool stuff very shortly. And guys, as always, thanks for watching and we'll catch you guys next time.